As I've continued teaching over the years, there is this common thread that I have noticed among lots of beginner artists. And this is that many of them ignore or completely set aside drawing or sketching from direct observation, otherwise known as drawing or sketching from life. And from the conversations I've had with both students directly, as well as with other people that I chat with via social media or email, most of the time people avoid this kind of practice because they are simply intimidated or overwhelmed by it. They feel they lack the skills or knowledge to be able to arrive at a great looking drawing, or honestly, it just comes down to laziness or lack of time. Maybe you feel you don't have the time or energy to find an object or a set of objects to create a little still life arrangement with that looks nice that you'll then be able to sketch. Whatever the case may be, in my opinion, it's a huge mistake to set this kind of practice aside. Why? Because it challenges you in ways that using reference photos simply doesn't. See, even though a photographic image certainly does provide a huge amount of visual information that you as an artist can decide to use to add higher levels of realism to drawings or paintings, your brain at some level still knows that that is a flat mechanical capture of a scene or subject matter. So in other words, you're using a flat image to create a flat drawing of whatever subject matter it is. And while yes, your drawing can certainly transmit a sense of 3D-ness and depth, you're transmitting that depth because you're essentially creating optical illusions on a flat two-dimensional surface like a piece of paper or canvas. We as artists learn these techniques and tools to help convey that 3D-ness, but it's still an optical illusion that we're creating. The surface is still flat. Whereas if you are drawing or sketching from life or from direct observation, that subject matter is in front of you in real life. You can reach out and touch it at any time. And so there is a lot more work involved. Your understanding of form and perspective definitely are challenged. And you're essentially turning that, translating that 3D-ness into a flat two-dimensional drawing that conveys depth. There is simply no way to quote unquote cheat when you're drawing or sketching from direct observation. If someone is able to draw whatever is in front of them in real life from direct observation, that tells me that they have high drawing skills. So make no mistake, if you're hitting walls with your drawing skills, or you're looking to take your skills to another level, drawing from life may very well be the type of practice that you're lacking. And the way that I teach drawing and sketching and the tools and tips that I provide, working large to small, general towards specific, visualizing and simplifying subject matter into basic forms, and all of this are setting you up to draw from life. And what's super cool is that you can choose your objects and your subject matter taking into account your current level. So if you're a complete beginner, you can simply use common everyday objects like mugs or pieces of fruit, place that single object in front of you and practice your drawing in that way. And if you're a little bit more advanced, you can start bringing in more complex or compound objects and try drawing that. And if you're a little bit more advanced, I would encourage you to try doing what I'm going to be doing today, which is bringing in a variety of different objects, some organic, some man-made, overlapping them in different ways, and try sketching that from direct observation. But simultaneously to improving your drawing skills, you're also challenging yourself with creating original compositions that are well balanced, that are harmonious, that are interesting to the viewer. So in the following video, you're going to see me create my still life arrangement. You're going to see me move my objects around until I arrive at something that I like. Then I'm going to be sharing my drawing setup and how I set up my easel, how I position myself in relation to my arrangement so that I can draw comfortably for a good period of time. Let's jump in. What I have done is I have set up the space on my desk, and what you see in the back there holding up the blue fabric so that I can have that blue background and blue kind of surface area for my still life arrangement is I just placed a stretched canvas, empty canvas in the back, but I sometimes also use boxes and I just drape the fabric over that. This can be done with bed sheets or anything like that, but I would recommend that it be a solid color. And I do have an artificial LED lamp over there hitting these objects from the upper left, but I'm not sure if I'm actually going to be using it or if I'm just going to be using the natural light coming in through my windows. For me right now, it is 1:55 p.m. And of course, different hours of the day are going to create different ambiance, different light situations that you might want to play around with. Playing with lights and shadows can really bring a lot of interest to your composition. Once I had that set up, I started collecting objects that I just had around my house. And as I was collecting those objects, I was thinking of colors that would work well together and making sure that I'm bringing in a variety of shape, texture, color, size. As I've explained in past classes, it's very important. It's part of composition design to arrive at a balance between variety and unity. It's good to have a nice range of different colors, lines, shapes, sizes, etc. And for me, when it comes to creating unity and integration, color is an element of art that I pay attention to. I think of whether these colors would work well together. And you can even decide to go by a specific color scheme as you're picking your objects, whether it's an analogous color scheme, a complementary color scheme, a triad, a tetrad, etc. And what I'm going to do now is just arrange my objects until I arrive at a composition that I enjoy. Sometimes I create extra fabric folds, which can certainly serve as part of that visual path, creates kind of a line that the viewer's eyes can travel down. And as you're creating your composition, I would highly recommend using your cell phone camera or any other camera so that you can actually frame your composition, because by framing your composition, this will help you visualize things a lot better, and seeing things inside of a frame will allow you to create more visual balance and something that looks more aesthetically pleasing. Not to mention, it's only through framing your composition that you'll know if your positive and negative spaces are what you want them to be. And shifting and changing the angle and the location of your camera can really help as well. Something that's also important to bring to mind so that you can arrive at integrated results is making sure that you have elements overlapping and grouping together. Not everything has to be grouped together. You can certainly have certain elements outside of that main group, but it is important to play with proximity and overlapping of your shapes. Okay, so I've arrived at something that I really like, and I'm excited to start sketching this. Something that I've talked about in a past Art Tip Saturday video is this simple cardboard framing tool, which is so helpful when you're starting with exercises like this, because just like when you're using your cell phone camera or any type of camera to frame your composition, this allows you to just visualize what things would actually look like in frame. All right, and this is my setup right here. My easel is set up on the right because I am right-handed, so I want to easily be able to glance at the still life arrangement as I'm drawing. And just as an FYI, the easel is around 2 to 3 feet away from the table. And I'm going to be sitting on a chair. I want to make sure that it's a comfortable chair, that I am positioning myself comfortably so that I can stay seated in that position for a long period of time as I am working. So let's jump in. Always working large to small, general towards specific, simplifying what I'm observing into basic shapes or combinations of basic shapes, and also working lightly in the beginning and making my way gradually toward softer pencil grades. Or if you're using charcoal or another kind of drawing material, then just think of how you can make your way toward using that material in a darker way, which will usually simply involve bringing in more pressure or less pressure. This right here is what I am seeing from my point of view. I'm all done with the still life sketch. I really hope that you're able to give this exercise a go for yourself and that you make direct observation, drawing, or sketching a consistent part of your art practice. Thank you so very much for joining me on this one. Have a wonderful rest of your day. Enjoy your art practice and see you very, very soon.